PM, the Warren Board of Health. Have I got a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Done. Top line.
Outline? Okay. So, 6 PM hearing for
No.
20.
WCIT.
Oh. We're being on cable with WCAT broadcasting on this meeting. It's live. We gotta let the whole world know. So let's start with the hearing for 24 North Street regarding notice of penalty. And who do we have representing that? Anybody?
Hi, Henry Rafelson. In special place I stand?
Right there, we
Right
fine,
there.
sir.
Thank you very much. Henry Rafelson, I'm an attorney out of Worcester, coming to visit your nice city. I like it. I've never been here. Well, I'm not sure how you want me to, we filed an appeal of the whole thing. Should we talk about the violations, what's done, what's not, or are you looking to just deal with the penalty?
Right now,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I don't know what, there's an attorney before the board. I don't know if this is going to court in any legal matter. If it is, I would highly recommend that, whatever summons that we have, that, we consult with town council and we don't make any comments. I think everything that has been said regarding 24 North Street has been said by the board, has been cleared to the owner of what is expected by the town, and is still not been addressed appropriately. So other than that, I would caution the board about engaging with an attorney, at this time.
basically what we're here for tonight is just to hear what you have to say, and that's it. It is a hearing, period. No questions asked, no questions answered.
Okay. I guess what I'm here to say is a couple of things. I would first say my client's in Portland, Maine, and he said he couldn't make it. Why? I have no idea, but he's there. What he's saying at this point in time is there are only 3 violations still there that relate to the units that are being used today. There are some empty units. They haven't finished the work in the empty units, but even though they're in violation, again, I'm not sure how you operate here versus other places, but it's my understanding normally that if a unit's not being used and it's not a danger to other people and it's a lock, that they are given extra time. I don't know that. I'm just throwing that out for whatever it's worth. My client's alleging that as of today, there's an issue of a 10 amp service. He has hired an electrician. Electrician has advised that it's not a 10 amp service. There's nothing wrong with the electric. That's all I have for that information. The second issue is there's a porch repair, which he advises that will be completed by next week, and says he's contacted Mr. Thibodeau and said they'd like an inspection on May 6th after the porch repairs have been completed. And then he says there's an issue with the sashes in number 3, one of the units, but the place is so bad, tenant caused, that he can't get in to do the work. No one will do the work because of the condition of the premises. I just got that today. What we will do is go to the housing court and get a court order allowing access and forcing this tenant to clean up the place. Again, I didn't find this until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and he's gone. It's also our position that your fine, I guess you call it a fine, is way in excess of what it should be. He understands that he didn't do things as quickly as possible, that he should be expected. He's alleging that 2 or 3 things. He's saying that a lot of the items were done in early February. He said he had problems getting a licensed contractor coming out here to do the work. you would know better than anybody how hard or easy it is to get a licensed contractor. So what he finally did, he hired a gentleman by the name of Andrew Gaspy of Honor Watch Property Management, fired his other manager who clearly wasn't doing the job properly based on the pictures, and I've seen the pictures, I'm sure you've seen the pictures. And therefore, the gentleman says that they're making great progress, they've done a lot of work in April, they only got those 3 problems. They're saying there's no issue with the AMP system, and they're gonna start renovating, once those 2 things get done, they're gonna start, and they get the court order to allow that tenant to clean up, because the gentleman, it's only window sashes, whatever, however the problem is, I don't know how bad the problem is or isn't. But with a tenant in there with feces and hoarding and whatever, they're gonna have to get a court order to get that stuff away from the windows and for the area in order to get access, because there's no way, his contract is not gonna, it's refused to go in. At the same time, he will start working on the units that are now empty and bring them up to code. And his position is basically that the fines, penalties, whatever the case may be, are well in excess of what we would deem to be reasonable under the circumstances. You know, I understand, I've been doing this for 42 years. I understand these things a little bit, and I understand the fines, et cetera, but I have never in my life seen anything this high. And I've seen some bad buildings in Worcester, some real bad ones, but I've never seen figures this high. And I just believe that they're not reasonable, how much they're fining him for the problem. Are there problems there? I'm not gonna deny there's problems, I've seen the pictures. But to be fined for that kind of money, I just think it's very unreasonable, and the town or town council or whatever should give some thought to lowering those figures substantially. And that would be my thought today.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes,
can I make a general statement?
absolutely.
Okay, this is a general statement, okay? The town of Warren, okay, requires people to pay their taxes, requires people to take out building permits, requires people to follow through on the building permits, and to find competent people to do the job and to maintain their properties. That's a general statement for everybody, okay? And we hold everybody to the same standard. So, the board has been going back and forth with violators of quality of life issues far too long. And they're gonna take a very hard look, and the town's gonna take a very hard look and a hard approach onto addressing this issue, because this is a quality of life issue for all the residents of Warren and West Warren. And nobody should be living in squalor from out-of-town landlords that don't want to maintain their properties. And so that's a general statement. I think the board has been very clear on its directive as in terms of where they want to see properties be. They want people to be able to enjoy their properties. They want people to live in a quality property and be able to afford their rent and pay their bills and live comfortably in Warren and West Warren. So that's just a general statement. Those are the requirements. Those shouldn't have to be announced any time. That's the requirement in every community in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So, absent of those meeting those requirements, the town is going to have a problem with that.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't disagree. You're looking at some of the 25,000 evictions, I have 500 clients, at least, landlords, so I understand both sides of the program. And I appreciate that statement, because I agree 100% about what you said. I just don't agree to the numbers, basically.
Well, we've heard your side of the story, and you've heard our side of the story, and we'll get back to you if we make any other decisions. Whenever, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No.
was I gonna say here? Can you give us an update whenever he does your landlord does any remodeling down it there?
Absolutely. Where would you like me to send the update? You got an email, address? I'll tell, every week I'll send notice to anybody that wants it. Or if everybody wants it, I'll send it to everybody.
Would appreciate that.
Yep, so the email that you had,
Email that I've got
requested the
here.
hearing, yep, the
Yeah.
BOH@warren-ma.gov.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for stopping by.
It's nice. I used to commute to UMass 50 years ago. So I go by this street. I said, I wonder what's down there.
Yeah.
Now I know. Thank you.
Take care, have a good night.
You too.
Village Market, re-inspection update. What do we got?
Well, so, right now, the update is that, we're waiting on some additional information that was requested. I had submitted, after we received we had requested an application to be filled out, basically starting from scratch to give us some information, such as pest control contractor, waste services, things of the sort. And so when that was submitted to our office, Jessica received that from the owner. The process was for me to go through and review it, and to see who the food purveyors were going to be. The menu was going to be much limited because of, a lot of the things that are going on right now, especially with the fire department has made some recommendations to put in and install a hood ventilation system. So the menu therefore needed to be much reduced. So I asked for, or we asked for a whole application to be submitted, no fees collected, but just the application so that we had all the information to review. I did that review, submitted it to the board. Jessica edited for content and grammar, and submitted that to the owner for additional information. And that was missing or not up to the board's requirements. And we are still waiting for some further information from the owner so that the board can make a determination as to when to move forward with a final inspection. I don't know if you want me to read through everything that we submitted. I actually don't have the copy, Jessica, and I apologize, of what was formally submitted to the owner, but it was a lengthy email. Did you want me to read through everything that was required, or are you all up to speed?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Jenna,
Hello.
hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
There seems to be some problems here, and, do you understand what our purpose is here? Our purpose, I'm gonna explain it to you. Our purpose is to take care of the people in the town of Warren. There are foodborne illnesses, there are waterborne illnesses, there are airborne illnesses. And we've got to be able to track those. We have a nurse on staff that gets the calls out whenever anybody gets sick, so that we know where the flu started, or an influenza, tuberculosis, all of that. As well as with food, we have to find out and know where that food came from. That's why we need you to have those receipts where you bought that food from. And maybe that'll help you understand why you have to have a place that delivers food and gives you a receipt, so that we know where if anything was wrong with it, where it came from, where that cow was, where that cow came from, and what kind of grass it was eating to get that disease. So if we have any problems that are out there, then the state's going to get really, really mad. And I'm not gonna have that happen. You don't want that to happen. So that's on that. You're gonna have an issue there with that grease trap, if I'm not mistaken. That grease trap, Jenna, you're either gonna pay for it now or you're gonna pay for it later. At some point in time, that grease, if it goes down that drain, is gonna clog up, and it's gonna end up in everybody's bathrooms. And as an LLC out there, you're gonna think you were a proprietorship when those lawyers start banging at your door. It's gone, forget about it. So, we're trying our best to work with you. If you have any questions on this, please give us a call. Well,
Well, I don't have any questions at the moment, but inspections have been completed and the place is in tip-top condition. I don't think anyone can say that it isn't. I have followed all of what was requested. And when Tricia came out, I did provide her with documents for the pest control. I showed her, and I have a copy here. I also showed copies of all of the vendors that we use. The
Stop right there a
receipts were
second.
provided.
stop right there a second if you would, please.
Pardon me?
Stop right there a second.
Okay.
On the vendors that you provided, they don't do delivery. It was, that place
No,
over in
no.
Chicopee is just like a shade short of being a, in my opinion, a farmer's market. And that's a whole different.
Restaurant Depot?
Yes.
A lot of vendors, a lot of places use Restaurant Depot. And Tricia told me that if I purchase a Keep It Cool container, which I did, that I can transport the food back and forth. And I purchased that along with ice containers and a thermometer specifically for that bag. It's not even close to a farmer's market, it's an establishment.
Okay. Point taken. But that's what we're trying to follow through with here, is that I know where that food came from. We know where that food came
And I
from.
have all the receipts.
Okay.
I've called the companies that I deal with, and they are willing to provide any documentation.
I do believe that was one of the issues here that we had at these.
The
pla-
initial visit.
The initial visit, okay.
And then on the 17th, when I received the documents that they're saying, or she's saying that I'm in violation of, I dispute those, quite a bit of them. I do need to get a grease trap, yes, I'm in contact with several plumbers. Right now, I can't afford it. I've gotten quotes from $6,000 to $10,000. I just can't afford it, I've been out of business for a month. So, I mean, that is in the works, but at the moment, I can't afford that. I'm trying to get money for the duct system and a new commercial stove. That's $50,000 that I've been quoted. So until I can do that, I'm just going to do the sandwiches. I'm fine with that. So to my deliveries, I have Capital Candy, they're from Vermont, they deliver. All-Star Dairies out of Hadley, they deliver. Restaurant Depot does not deliver, but I do have the Keep It Cool bag. And Burnett's Polish Market, they don't deliver, but again, I have the thermal bag. So there's no violation with delivery.
Okay, so your menu was a full-blown menu.
And I gave the revised one, which is just the cold sandwiches and the
Okay.
salads.
All right, have you seen that one yet?
So if I could respond to some of this, please. So the application that we received, there is some of that information on there. As to the Keep It Cold bag, I believe, Dan, you were with me when we had that conversation. And it was more of, there are ways that you could go about doing it, but the board still needs to approve those vendors. So nothing was guaranteed at that time, nothing was approved at that time. It was still things need to be presented to the board, and the board needs to approve the vendors. And also, we need to understand how things are coming and going, and they need to come directly from wherever you're picking up the products. And there has to be some kind of documentation or evidence to show that the foods were not held outside of temperature control for too long. So wherever the purchase is made, it needs to come directly to the store, and there has to be some kind of traceability there. And that was more to set up for approval from the board. In addition to that, there were no contracts submitted with that application. Things were viewed at the location with the owner, and conversations were had, but it was also, I thought, made pretty clear that all of that documentation needed to be submitted with the application to Jessica, and then so that it could be presented to the board for the board to approve. I am not taking any approval steps in this process at all. I am not making any guarantees or promises. I am putting everything to the board because of the contentious relationship that there has been. So the application is, unfortunately, from my opinion, it was deficient, and I presented that so that the board could take a look and determine if it is deficient in your opinions as well, because you have the ultimate authority.
We haven't read that, we haven't seen that yet.
It's been there
Hmm?
several times. And he has seen.
This new application, I'm sorry, I haven't seen this new application yet.
I provided it through the email as she instructed, and she did not tell me that I had to provide the contracts in the email. I showed them to her in person, and she said, okay. She didn't say anything about doing them, and I can very well send them. That's not a
Would you
problem.
please?
And right now I have the pest control that she said I didn't submit. I gave that to her, and I also have a copy in hand.
If you could please take a picture of it, submit it through the email.
I
so
can
we-
give you the copy right here.
As a
I have
copy?
many copies.
This is my
Okay.
review, and then she would want to look at it.
The other issue is going to be the certifications. Is your mom, can I call you mom?
Yeah,
Does she, do you have a certification for ServSafe?
No,
No.
but I don't touch the food. I just work the register
And
and
so,
answer the phone.
so I called the Department of Public Health in Boston, and I asked them if I need to have someone there when I'm not there, because I have the kitchen closed when I'm not there. So my mother works the store, works the register. She has nothing to do with the food. She doesn't make the food. The kitchen is closed. And there's no violation with that. The department said I can close the kitchen when I'm not there.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would probably ask who she spoke with, because I don't know if that could be documented, but at the local level, the local health department has the ultimate authority to be more strict than the code. You can't be less strict, but you could be more strict. And in my opinion, it was a lack of educated food safety professionals with or without the owner present. So I could show the code if you like, but.
I'm fine. What happened there was the day that me and this young lady walked in on you there was food just sitting outright.
Yep, I had an emergency that day and I had
You
to
had emergency,
leave.
that's right,
So
okay.
that's not how normal procedures are for us. Again, my son had to go to the hospital, I took him. It was an emergency, that wasn't something that was planned, it happened. So we don't normally have the kitchen in that state. It hasn't been that way before, always past inspections, and it's currently not like that now. So in that moment, yes, the kitchen was atrocious. We fixed that immediately. We cleaned and sanitized it, and then on top of that, we also had ServPro come out and sanitize it as well, even though we didn't have to, because that's not part of the regulations that you have to have a professional come out and clean it. I did check on that. But it was done, and it's clean now. Everything has been thrown away, which I don't understand why I needed to throw any of the food away, because it was in freezers and in coolers. There was no problems with any of the coolers or the freezers. So that, in my opinion, is a violation of my constitutional rights. There was no due process in providing me time. I don't have to keep a log. That's what the Department of Public Works said in Boston. And there was no reason for me to have to throw away the food because there wasn't a log.
There is. And it's to keep that meat at a cool.
There was never
temp-
any issues with my coolers. They've always been in working condition.
Jenna, I've seen tons of coolers.
Uh-huh.
And I touched that glass on that cooler, that was warm.
You touched the one that's broke. All of my other ones have never
The
had
one
an
that had all
issue.
those meats in there. Not that this, disagree with you. Just that, I myself, if that was my refrigerator and I felt that, I go, I can't eat this stuff. That, boom. And you didn't have any temperature gauges whatsoever.
No, there were temperature gauges in every single one, and there still is some in every single one.
Okay. I didn't see any, let me put it that way then, I didn't see any temperature gauges in that. Or I would have said, hey, look, it feels and looks, according to this temperature gauge, what it is. We have people out there that record that temperature of those freezers every hour on the hour. Just so that if we walk in for an inspection, you go, there you go.
Well, because that's what's being required of me now, I have full documentation of every cooler that's in there, every freezer. So there will never be a dispute about that, and they are checked every single day.
Undocumented.
Okay. Can you submit that application then with all that documentation to us, please?
So I would like clarification.
Go ahead.
All of my contracts with my vendors and the pest control, is that what you're asking for?
Correct, yes.
Okay, because I did show her in hand.
Correct. So what's gonna happen is, you're going to email it to us, we're gonna make copies of it, and the whole board is going to take a look at those and ask questions. There's gonna be different thought processes and everything's going to be questioned, and we just wanna make sure that the people of Warren are safe. If you could do that for us, we'd be appreciative.
Be forewarned about what?
No, Warren, take care of the people of Warren, that's all. Oh, any kind of foodborne diseases.
I have a Serve Safe certificate. I'm not sure, I don't understand what you're getting at.
Okay, if you have a Serve Safe certificate, then why was the store in the condition that it was in?
In that moment, we were in a bad situation.
That's not an excuse,
Well, we fixed it since then.
okay?
Everything has been fixed.
Everybody
I've done
has
everything
things
that
that
I've
crop
had to
up.
do or that I've been asked to do.
Everybody-
Everything that I can afford, I've done. But it seems as if there's some kind of small town politics going on. For some reason, she has a vendetta against me, does not want me to open my store. I've done everything that I'm asked to do, and I have always done everything that I've been asked to do.
When we were originally in your store, Tricia asked me to let you open up the front half of the store.
Right, but she won't let me sell milk.
And I said, no, let's go back in and check the dry goods and see what the expiration
Yeah.
dates are on the food in the dry goods section. And we started pulling stuff right and left.
Yeah,
It was
and
all
and
expired.
that's fixed. That is clearly fixed.
That is
And I also
fixed.
have a document on my phone that lets me know when anything in my store is expired or about to expire. So that has been taken care of as well.
Right, and then when I came back to re-inspect that, so you could open up that section of the store, you told me you went through everything and everything was okay. But yet I went through and I pulled off how much stuff?
Not much.
Not much. I wiped out a whole mayonnaise section that was what, 10 to 15 jars?
Mayonnaise.
Okay.
But it's been
Mayonnaise.
taken off. There's nothing in that store that is expired at all. And we have a whole document of when things are expiring. So that will never happen.
Okay, that's good going forward, but that wasn't in place when we stepped in.
But it's in place now.
Right. Okay, what we've done is we've given you the initial okay to open the front half of the store. That's your dry goods, prepackaged foods, your smokes, and your lottery, correct?
Dairy has not been approved.
No?
I have a vendor, All Star Dairy out of Hadley, delivers the milk and the dairy products in
Okay.
their refrigerated
What we
vehicle.
need on that document, when you send in the information from your purveyors, it needs to list everything that is coming from that specific
I did.
purveyor.
I submitted that. All Star Dairy was listed on the application.
It may say All-Star Dairy, but is not telling us what is coming from that purveyor.
They didn't order anything yet.
So all that information needs to be included in that. If you're
So you
buying
need me to
from,
write down All Star Dairy, I'll be getting dairy from All Star Dairy. That's what you'd like me to
are
put in
you
my list?
getting milk? Are you getting heavy cream? Are you getting this? Are you getting that? Itemized. Okay? Your meats, what kind of meats are you getting from Restaurant supply, and yes, I agree with you, restaurant supply supplies everybody in the area.
It's not a farmer's market at all.
No, it is not, no.
Just to mention.
But you still have to have a list of everything that you're getting from that specific purveyor. Okay? Rhonda, get anything?
Have you got that, Jenna? We need a list
Yes,
of
my name
everything.
is Gina.
Gina, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is that Polish? No?
I understand completely, and I can certainly read what was sent to me, and I can go through the list, because there's a lot of discrepancies in here. Would you like me to go through the list that she created?
I'm well aware of that list that she created, and I thought it was great.
Did you?
Yeah, I was there for it.
Okay, because there's
Remember we
things in
sat
here
out
that
there-
are not required by the state, such as a vegetable sink. I don't need to buy a specific vegetable sink. I can use a stainless steel sink as long as I follow the code to sanitize and clean it before I use it and after I use it. But she's bringing this up new on the 17th. That wasn't even discussed before. She's making assumptions that I don't clean my vegetables. Of course I clean my vegetables. And that's just one of many things that she's just making assumptions about.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Jim.
I can feel that there's a little tension here in the air. This is not to be us against you or you against us. This is not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to accomplish here is that there's obviously some issues that need to be fixed, right? Some issues that need to be addressed. It's been brought to the attention of the board, it's been brought to the attention of the owners. We're trying to get this corrected, okay? And I don't want to see anybody attack our enforcement agency, which is our inspectors that go out and do their job. They're going out, and sometimes they have concerns that they have to bring back, that they have a responsibility to bring back, and sometimes those concerns can be unpleasant for both the board to hear and for the business owner to hear. And so I just ask that everybody be respectful in the fact that this happens to every business now that we have in town. And there was a period of time where we didn't have, services of this magnitude of inspectional services. And now that we have these inspectional services, they have to be done. It's required by law. This is to help and to secure the welfare and the good of our community. This is important that this gets done. So, I understand that the small business owners, and we support small business owners here in the town, and we work with people within reason, we work with people. But the fact of the matter here is that, there's some deficiencies here. They need to be addressed. I think the board has made it clear that, what they're looking for. I think our inspector has made it clear what needs to be done. And just present that information into a nice packet, present it to the office, and I think the board will review it and take it under advisement, is what I'm hearing. So there's a little give and take here. We're trying to work together to get you back into operation and into compliance. And we're trying to move in that direction. So I just ask everybody just to take a deep breath and a pause. This is not to be confrontational for anybody here. I know that this is a passionate issue when you're dealing with a business and somebody's livelihood, but this is a matter that is very serious, and these are serious concerns that need to get addressed for the entire good of the public. So I just want everybody to be clear on that.
Well, if I could please add, every time that they send me a form saying that I'm deficient in something, I correct it. I do
Okay.
what I have to do. I call who I need to call. I have people come out. And then she tells me, okay, you'll be able to open after you do this. I've done it, still not able to open. every time I get a new list of new things that are required that she didn't discuss before.
Mhm.
It's every single time there's something new, every single time. I do what I'm asked, then we come up with a new list.
So then, going forward, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna work together one way or another, okay?
It doesn't seem that way, because I've heard that said many times in the past month, and I'm still closed, even though I have done what you've asked. I have done it, I'm still closed.
A portion of your store is still closed.
Well, she's not allowing me to serve milk when I have a vendor that delivers in a refrigerated vehicle dairy products,
Okay, so it's my understanding the board needs to know who the vendor is in writing.
which I've given them.
And then probably, I'm guessing, look at the bill of lading and to compare it up with what you said that you are getting from this person, right? Have you provided the bill of lading to the board?
I've provided all of my vendors on the application like I was asked to do. They didn't ask of anything more of me on that application. The only part that I did not fill on the application was about the grease trap. And I said that was pending because, again, I'm trying to find something that I can afford. I cannot afford a $10,000 grease trap or a $30,000 commercial stove. I don't have enough revenue. My store is not high trafficked in the kitchen. It's not something that I do. We're mainly a deli with sandwiches. And they want me to spend $50,000 for a whole unit, stove, ductwork.
Mr. Chairman, I think the inspector has something.
So for an under sink grease trap, I would suggest getting a different quote altogether, because 10,000 seems a bit excessive.
I've
for
gotten
under
4.
sink.
They range from 6,000 up to 10,000 so far. And I'm still waiting to hear back.
But that's under plumbing code, so maybe we can loop in the plumbing inspector to see if maybe there's other suggestions. That
Yeah,
still
but
seems a
you're
bit
looking at the
high.
plumbing under there too, also has to be changed to accommodate that,
Oh, okay. Was it not? Okay.
yeah.
I apologize. I just wanted to throw that in.
Anybody else have anything?
I mean, you have the grease trap, you have the range hood, that's with the answer system attached to it, because you're operating in commercial kitchen. You cannot, in the state of Massachusetts, operate a commercial kitchen without those pieces of equipment.
Correct.
And we can't allow that end of the store to open up without it in place. It's cut and dry. You know, the fire department will tell you the same thing. Okay? We can't circumnavigate that. That's the law. That's the way it is.
And that's why I agreed to just do the sandwiches until I can afford the range and the ductwork. I have no problem just doing the sandwiches.
Have we had the dairy machine taken care of yet?
The dairy machine? The soft serve?
Yes.
No, I'm not serving. I have had that for 4 years. I used it once. I'm not doing soft serve.
And what about the freezer or the refrigeration unit that's not functioning?
The freezer that's in the store is, I'm waiting to have that fixed. But I have 2 freezers in the kitchen, and I have 5 refrigerators throughout the whole store, including a commercial refrigerator and a deli cooler.
Okay. The other
I have
thing-
adequate freezer and refrigeration that is working properly.
All right, and is that all working properly going to suffice for what you want to bring into the store?
Yes, I've been keeping logs of the temperatures as you've all
No, I'm
requested.
talking about the amount of product that you're bringing in.
Yes, I have 7 meats, 5 cheeses, and they have always fit perfectly fine in the deli cooler.
Okay,
have
but now
shelves in the
you
cooler.
notice, and I'm quoting this under ServSafe, okay, that you have to have that meat and those other products stored in those units in the perfect, the correct order.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so you're
there,
not contaminating one product on another.
I have many shelves in the commercial refrigerator. I have the deli cooler. Everything is adequately sized and appropriate.
For the amount of stuff that you're bringing in.
I didn't hear you.
For the amount of stuff that you're bringing in.
There's not much since I'm not cooking any longer.
Okay.
So then, I'm gonna open this up again. This application that you've put together and you've sent it to us, or you just had the inspector look at it? We actually have it in our grubby little hands?
I sent it to them.
Okay. It's in this folder that you gave me? Okay. So now we need time to review it, to take a look at everything. And then we'll give you a call.
So when I sent it to you 2 weeks ago, why couldn't it have been reviewed then? Now I have to wait another month to have a callback? There seems to be some lack of, communication or something going on. I sent those things, they should have been reviewed before coming today. And you talk about my livelihood. Yes, this is my livelihood. This is how I support my family. And it just seems like everything's being prolonged when I've done what I've been asked to do.
If we can get this to you quicker, we certainly will. Somebody got any other questions, answers, points of view?
Did the inspector have it, did you have anything else, Trish, did you want to add, or?
I don't believe so, thank
So
you. I've
are you clear what you need to
I've been
provide to the
clear.
board?
I've been clear since day one.
Okay,
And
all
I've
right.
done everything that I've been asked to do.
Okay, all right. And so does the board need anything from her in order to make that decision? So what, Jess,
There is requests on the review of the application that was sent to her, with the information that is needed.
okay, so what do we need from?
That's the unofficial, but that was
Okay.
my suggestions, and then it was edited.
Okay. So.
Yeah, I know.
Did anybody get the chance to see this?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you guys can review this and get back to her on
Yes, John, that's what we're gonna have to do. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay.
that. And we have your contact information, Jess has your contact
Well, I
information?
don't know, because I received a letter that instead of going to West Warren, it went to Warren. And then I was told that I refused to pick up the package, which isn't true because I am in West Warren, not
Okay.
Warren.
So get all your contact information to our administrative
I did.
assistant. Okay, she has it now. Jess, you
I
have it?
don't know if she has it, but I sent
The
it.
assessor's office does
Okay.
have the PO box in Warren. And
Okay,
that's
so,
what we have
but
taken
yeah,
it
just
from.
get it from her right now. So what do we?
And if I could add that, on the letter that they sent me, it had my name, my store, my address on the same line as the store, P.O. Box, and then West Warren, but then underneath it said Warren. So they got the address right on the first line, but on the
Mhm.
second line, they sent it to the wrong place.
All right. That can be easily fixed. We can just, if you just want to provide it to our administrative assistant before you leave, and then, so make sure all lines of communication are good. Because she'll be, coordinating with the board's intentions to you. and-
Well, I did send an email stating that that was the issue, that I never refused to pick up a certified letter. And they said that they sent it to where the selectmen or whomever had my records. I called them and they have my correct address listed in the system.
Mhm.
So they weren't sure why they sent it to Warren instead of West Warren. But
Okay.
everything in the town here, the town hall has my correct address except for the Board of Health.
Okay.
I have a document from the assessor's office confirming that the address is Warren for the PO box.
We just get it right from the source. We'll get it right from the source. So we'll just get it from that way. So if you can provide that to her on a just a sheet of paper.
That was actually part of the correction letter, so it has
Thank you, folks, thank you.
Have a nice rest of the day.
You too.
Moving on, Aaron and Paulina.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys? I printed these out for everyone. So I can take a look.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so I know it's been a hot minute since Paulina has met with you guys.
Thank you, Town Administrator.
Thank you, take care, have a good evening, everybody. Good to see you again.
In the meantime, I have been hired as the Shared Services Coordinator. I have been in this position for about a month now. And just, I guess to start us off, what do you guys remember of the PHE grant, what it is, anything? I can go over it, it's fine. It's taken me a month already just to figure it out myself. So my understanding is that this Public Health Excellent Grant has been created to alleviate any kind of an overflow that local public health departments are experiencing. So let's say you guys get a call for a perk test and you don't have anyone to do it, you'd call me and like our staff would kind of be able to come out here and help you guys. So I look at it as we're a full-time team that's working part-time in each of these towns to help out as best as we can. Okay. So my role as the Shared Services Coordinator is I'm like the liaison between you guys, all the towns. I'm working in Ludlow, Palmer, Warren, and West Brookfield, and the shared service staff. I'm currently a staff of one. We just hired a social worker. She's going to start at the end of May. We have applications out for a public health nurse and a Title V contractor. As far as the public health nurse position literally just got posted yesterday. So we have no applicants for that as of now. And the contractor, I don't think we have anyone reaching out yet as well. Additionally, in my role, I'm here to do community outreach, figure out the town's needs, kind of create programming revolving that. What else do I have on here?
Basically, Erin's here to kind of work with you guys as much or as little as you want. Before I was doing that, but my full-time job is the health director for Ludlow, which obviously didn't give me a lot of time, which is why Erin was hired. To kind of work through whether your inspector has the day off and you have an urgent issue, you can figure out with Erin how you want that to work as either backup inspections once we get fully staffed. We do have a part-time inspector that we'll be hiring as well. So it's really as little or as much as you want, Erin, and I think she's given you guys her business card. So you
I haven't yet, but I will.
she has business cards and her phone number and email on there. So if you have any questions or issues or say, so in Ludlow, kind of what I do where it's been helpful to kind of compare, I work with our fire and police department. Mental health has just been a really big issue in all of the communities. So they refer to, we have a social worker that works with us part-time, and they refer calls to us. Or if you go out to a housing inspection and you have a hoarding situation and there's children involved, this can also be something you may not know how to deal with that issue, but you can refer to Erin. We now have a social worker. Or if you're just not sure, some issues that you guys may be seeing that the other towns aren't seeing. Erin's really here to kind of help you guys and what those needs are. And for you to tell her what you need or what you don't need, if that makes sense. The state has given us a budget to work with, and it's for all those towns. So each town still stays independent to who they are. So all the staff and everybody you have is still yours, but everything that we get through the shared services is shared and extra, like a bonus. So how I see it is just an addition or a backup for when you guys go on vacation, or you need a break, or you may be sick, or you go out on maternity leave, so. Erin's kind of here to kind of be the buffer on that. I know you have some more
Yeah, I can go through other points, other just things that I've been doing. I've been working with Palmer. They have received some of the opioid settlement funding, so I've been working with them along that. I think you guys have gotten some as well. No? Okay, never mind. We can move past that. I talked about our positions. I've been attending an array of different meetings. I'm your frontline communication to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. I have been working on the grant renewal, the budgeting, just reporting our updates to them. I attended the emergency preparedness meeting for Region 1. I think that covers Palmer and Ludlow. I think you guys are in a different region, so if you guys wanted me to attend those meetings as well, I would be able to. So yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. Moving forward, I would just love to interact and work with your town more. Over in Palmer, I have talked to the librarian, the director of the library. I'm gonna put like a suggestions box in their library, and I would love to do maybe a similar thing here, to talk or to get to know the community better, hear what like people's needs are, what their wants are, interacting with the senior center, the schools, etc. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I don't want to overstep any boundaries.
Oh yeah, Aaron, I'm still waiting on the iPods, the iPads.
So the iPads are for the shared staff, so,
Oh, but you're staying.
yeah, so if you were to have staff to sit within your office and they needed like a desktop, then we could buy a desktop. So like Erin sits in Ludlow, so we purchased her a laptop with the shared services. But for each town, it's not for those individual towns, it's for the shared staff.
I have a question though, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt if you don't mind. Yesterday I met, because I'm also a backup inspector in Sturbridge where I used to work, so Region 2. And I met with Diane Legier, who's gonna do some training on Food Code Pro.
Yeah.
And in conversation over there, it came up that I believe that we have some Food Code Pro
We do.
here. So wouldn't that come with an iPad as well, or did we
Yeah.
not sign up for it?
We did sign up for it, but it's only for the inspectors that are hired through the grant. I guess we could ask the state, Erin could reach out to the state and see if that's
Because
something that we
Sturbridge
could.
has iPads for their inspector and their agent. They also
Okay.
have Housing Code Pro, which I don't believe we have here, but that would be great to have that digital inspection form as well. So is that something that we could?
Yeah, so
Sorry,
we do
talk for the
have
board.
so we do have iPads purchased for the shared staff, but Erin, if you wanna write down, we can definitely ask, I guess, would it just be you that would be using the software? So the way the software works is it's one iPad per person. You can only be used. So the software is extremely expensive, but I guess if she's asking, would it be for two people, like two iPads, two users, like how would that, I guess?
I don't know how it was originally set up, so I used to be the full-time inspector in Sturbridge, and the way it was set up over there was I believe that they requested it, so
Mhm.
one for the inspector, one for the agent, so that they could both do one, and then their shared regional inspector has her own, which is also linked. She has her own sign-ins, but she can access the towns that she goes to, and then the town's agent would have access, so one of them would also have access to all of the inspections. I
Yep.
believe is how it works.
Yeah, so right now, before Erin was hired, I have access to all the towns, but not all the towns have iPads because not every town has an inspector. So for Ludlow, we had one, and then the regional one. And then I think we had a third one, but we can always re-ask the state. The way that they had worded it was that any funding cannot be used to supplant funds or existing funds for the towns. It would just be for the shared staff, but
Maybe
I
it's,
know.
okay.
That's no
Yeah.
problem. Erin can ask tomorrow when she goes into the office.
It
And
may also be because of the different, regions.
Every region is different, and every shared service is a little different. I know some, if they've been in it longer, they have like grandfathered in certain requirements and restrictions, so we can definitely get you an answer, and Erin can reach out.
So are you covering both counties or just Camden County.
Both count, like,
Are you talking about the inspection software? Or-
Yes.
So I only do Ludlow, so I technically don't, we had an inspector, but he is no longer with us.
Right.
So I only do Ludlow, I don't cover Ludlow, Palmer, Warren, and West Brookfield, I just have access to all of that. One of the requirements with this grant is that the state wants access to the inspection, so say one of you was out, I could just send them the inspection reports that were needed. That's kind of the reason they're giving us the money, is because they want
Right.
to see the reporting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have that capability of getting inspections to anybody,
Okay.
so, but the question that I'm really asking is, most of these towns are in Hamden County, with the exception of Warren, which is part of Worcester County. Does the program apply to, Worcester County the same as it would to Hamden County?
Yep. Yeah, so West Brookfield is also, I'm pretty sure, part of Worcester, because it's Ludlow, Palmer, Warren, and West Brookfield, and they're also part of Worcester. So our shared services is kind of split, it's Hamden and Worcester County. But that's really the only difference, and our needs are all a little different. But,
Yeah.
I don't see that being a problem, I guess. Is it 2 iPads that you guys are looking at getting? Are you looking at the food, the housing? I know they have recreational camp. Is it all of that you're looking at
Yeah.
getting? Okay.
But I can keep those forms in order, be able to have those forms right there as needed at a site, in triplicate, duplicate, and everything else, so that they can go everywhere, and if it's got any kind of Bluetooth to it, so that I can use the
Not yet.
nearest printer, would be great. That way there I can leave a copy to the person.
absolutely. Changing gears a little bit, moving forward, how would you guys like to communicate best? Like, should I be going through Jessica? Would you like me to email you directly? Jessica?
Jessica,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any other questions for us, for me?
Well,
Yes.
we would probably be looking for a Title V contractor
Yeah.
that we can use as a backup.
Okay.
So that position has been posted. Right now, we have a regional contractor position posted for all Title V work. And that's something that you could reach out to Erin, and she'll update you guys once that person's hired. So Jessica can also have the contact information. You guys can figure out how you want to work with that. But that position has been posted. I know that's a big need in all the communities. So Erin will definitely update Jessica, and she'll update you guys once that position is hired. Okay?
Anything else? Any questions? Does the iPad do streaming?
Is what?
Does the iPad do streaming?
If you connect to Wi-Fi, I'm sure it does.
Okay, we want that tomorrow.
Okay, we'll find out as soon as we can for you guys.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, Erin, you'll hear from Erin. She's your point of contact. I'm just here in case there's a question that maybe she didn't know. But you guys can also call me anytime too. I'm not strangers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paulina.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Thank you for coming.
My
your
card's
time.
on there, my contact information, just like the services that we're hopefully going to be providing once we hire everyone. Feel free to reach out. I'll definitely be in contact with you.
Last time I've been here.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. It was very nice to meet you. All right. Have a great night, guys. Hopefully the rest of
You
the
too, thank you.
Yes.
I lost the agenda.
What else, standard operating procedures?
Let me get that file.
What the hell is standard up?
I just need to stick her while she's using my computer.
I don't know what happened.
That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Tricia, did you get the request from her for cooking on grill outside?
I've already spoken to the chief and
No.
there's enough, yeah.
Board of Health standard operating procedures. Is everybody aware of how this goes? We don't go out unless we're called. Adam's got his own crew out there, the police chief has got his crew out there, they all work as a team. We will only be in their way unless they call us.
And typically, for every inspection that we've done on housing, I've gotten a call from Adam.
Great.
So Adam runs into an issue, he calls me right away.
Terrific.
So, and usually when he calls me, it's jump and go.
There was a way to get you, something, some additional stipend for that or
I ain't
something.
worried about it.
Okay.
But just that's how that's been working.
That's
So it's
cool.
not like we've been jumping the gun on anything. It's Adam has been calling me to all these places that he's been at.
Terrific. Thank you. Catering permits. That's an interesting subject. We don't have anything out there for catering, correct?
I think that was brought up partly because there are some homebrew caterers out there. Mass Appeal is one who does particular catering off the side. Does it warrant that we have a permit for that? The other one is Village was looking at, she does small catering events too. That was, I can't see going there right now. But we do need to look at all of these mom and pop places that are popping up that are making food to sell on the outside.
Yeah.
Because that does, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tricia, that does fall under catering.
Yeah, so the requirement in the state of Massachusetts is that if you cater, so you have your base of operations, you should be permitted in your base of operations. And then so you should be properly permitted and you should have recent inspection forms. And that should be requested of the location that you're catering to. So if you have a base of operations in Warren and you're catering an event in Brookfield, that event, wherever that event space is, they should be asking for your food establishment permit to be a caterer and your most recent inspection form. I can't guarantee that it's always done, but that's the way it should be. It's the intention. And then the town of Brookfield doesn't need to permit that caterer to come in because they're already permitted here. The food is being prepared here. So what the town of Brookfield should be requesting in this scenario would be a notice from that caterer saying, this is our information, we're coming to your town, we're going to be catering an event on this date at this location. Within, I believe it's 48 hours of the event, either beforehand or within 48 hours afterwards. So that caterer is required to let that town know that they are bringing foods from another town and being catered in that town. Here, we should be permitting any caterers whose base of operations is here in town. They should be inspected, they should have current and recent inspections, and they should have a valid permit as well. That way there they can prove to the town that they're going to that their foods are being made in a sanitary and safe town. And then from there, the towns, like we've received some catering notices from Laurel Ridge, which we just inspected today. So those caterers, when they let us know, then if there are any foodborne illnesses or complaints, any traceback requirements for the food, then we can do so. We've been given advance notice. But also we can then call that main town, which I've done many, many times in my career. You call that main town and just say, hey, do you have any recent inspection reports? Is everything okay with this caterer? They give you the A-OK, and that's the way it's basically run. Without having catering permits here in town, we don't know who's catering, and unfortunately, they're not. If we do have caterers here who are catering outside of town, then they're not going about it appropriately.
And that typically falls on one down the street, the Pizza Power, because they do cater on a truck out to the.
Oh, that was Mass Appeal.
Yeah, keep forgetting that name.
There's a food truck, that would be separate.
That's the food truck is a separate
Separate.
vendor license also.
Yeah,
Some sort of rolling bus, he had a bus out there or something like that?
Yeah, but I think he's got a van now or something.
Does he?
Like
Okay.
yeah. Is it just for transportation? I'm trying to just understand what,
And I think he used to prep stuff in the store and take it to events.
okay. So that's something that when I do an inspection, I drove by today and it was nonstop busy. I couldn't find a parking spot. But when I go in there, I can ask certain questions because we just want to get an idea of what people are doing, not to get people in trouble, but just to have an idea of what's going on. And I think that a catering permit would be a reasonable thing to add to the fees list, which is why I had asked to talk
So
about
let's
it.
say like, maybe Pizza Hut, they deliver, they deliver to this town.
Mhm.
Well, they're the ones that would need the catering license in their town.
So that's a different definition entirely. I see where you're going with it and I love it. But third-party delivery or delivery, like if we order pizza in town
Yeah.
and we have it delivered, the FDA doesn't
Regulate that.
regulate that. So a delivery truck, but they were different. There was always a what if in food safety, right? So
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
talk about purveyors who are bringing, or vendors who are bringing food to a food establishment, there's a chain of custody in
Yeah, yeah.
that regard. But for deliveries of, say, pizza to your home residence, that's unregulated because
It's
same
not
with
considered
Instacarts.
catering.
It's not considered
Yeah,
catering,
yeah.
there's no chain of custody, there's no legal ownership of that food. So once the customer places that order with Pizza Hut, and Pizza Hut fulfills that order, that's the end of service, that's the end of that flow of food, because Pizza Hut no longer owns it,
Yeah.
maybe. Okay, so there's different what-ifs. You wanna talk food safety, I'll go all day. So just my recommendation for catering, and if we have a food truck in town, an actual food truck, whether preparing foods or
What I
doing-
think we need to do in case, I know it's on the hot list for a lot of different towns in the area, that they have these food truck events. And they bring on, 10 or 15 of them at a time. I think that the Board of Health should have a licensing structure for food trucks to come into town. A vendor's permit for them.
I think that
And
would
they have to
fall
meet
under-
all the qualifications. The truck still has to be up to code with ServSafe.
Mhm.
It's not just an empty wagon that they drag in here. It's gotta be up to code to meet the regulations.
And say, like if they were having it down at Dean Park.
So that, sometimes, that typically falls under a temporary food permit,
Yeah.
which we
Right.
do have here, but if we're housing, so they're required to have a servicing
Mhm.
set up, so they have to go somewhere to dump their water.
Oh,
And it
yeah,
has to
yeah.
be, in accordance and compliance with the health laws. So if we have one in town, then we should definitely be permitting them. And I do teach classes at a food truck commissary kitchen. I would love that for this town to have food trucks come in.
And it's getting to be summertime too,
It would be great, right?
I can't imagine we're not gonna get one or two people inquiring about it.
Yeah,
And you and I did have out of Munson, somebody made pastry for the school. Do you remember that conversation? I know we had, and you said, this is exactly what you gotta do, make sure they got this, this, and
Yeah.
this. And we gave them a call, and they did, and they faxed everything to us, emailed it. So I gave them the good thumbs up there,
yeah,
you
excellent.
know?
And I think we also don't have residential kitchen as, so the food code, we could go through, if you are all amenable to hearing more about this or restructuring. I'm not talking necessarily about fees, but adding different permit sections. In the food code, there's a whole list of permits that we could organize or.
Structure it.
Structured, so residential kitchens is one that we would have authority over, and it has a separate, similar, but a little different rules. Food trucks, any other upcoming,
They're all gonna be here.
yeah.
The one down at the senior center also has to meet code and regulations.
What's that?
The commercial kitchen at the senior center.
That one, yes, I did do an inspection there. That one is good. I did make recommendations again. It's been on a few inspections that I've done now about that dishwasher, but the town administrator did mention that it's being replaced, so I'm hopeful that that will be done soon.
That, the stove, and I think,
We should get ready for it in case we make the top 10 list of tourist place attractions, you know?
well, it's been a while.
And it's coming our way, I mean,
Yeah.
I do believe it is coming. So catering, I guess you would have to ask the owner, hey, are you going to do catering as well as just making pizzas? You
Yeah.
got a pizza truck, maybe?
Well, his Mass Appeal was originally set up as a catering business.
Oh, really?
That they would set their food up in the kitchen and then put it on their trucks and take it to events. That's how they were originally structured. Then secondary to that, they would have a small store where they would be serving pizzas and different things.
Well,
That was-
That's what their business model was.
That was a store that they recently shut down, it used to be some sort of restaurant for the people.
That was just
Just your basic, hash browns and
yes,
eggs.
yes, but now it's all on one side. It's on the original side. They did not open up a second because they have to have two different permits because it's in one building, but they're two separate entities.
And he had a laundromat in between, right?
Right.
Okay.
So the other one is shut down now because they did not reopen it because of that situation.
Okay.
Could I just further ask, I think as Jessica and I spent today going through the information for permit renewals, trying to get everything prepared to send out, because permits expire June 30th. So we're trying to get everything together to send out the packets. I believe you said May 1st is hopeful.
Yes, yeah.
The blue sky hope. What I'm seeing is that there's still, unfortunately, a lot of discrepancy or a lot of non-compliant files. And I know I say the term non-compliant and it sounds really scary in the enforcement world, but I guess, the basic requirements of having a food protection manager certificate, having an allergen awareness certificate, those are requirements in the state of Massachusetts in order to get a permit.
Yeah.
We have several operations that don't have that or have expired or old certificates in there where the person no longer works in this operation.
Can you get us a list of those establishments?
We absolutely have that. I think that what I'm coming up against is that as you all three know, I like to do things right way the first time. What I'd like to do, in speaking with Jessica, there's a bit of work to get us to that place. So what we were thinking is sending out the permit renewal applications, the entire whole application again, just like Gina sent in for
Start
Village
from
Market.
scratch.
Start from
Mhm.
scratch. Tell us everything you've got.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting anybody in trouble, just trying to get a sense of what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that there were tanning facilities in town, which falls under us for permitting and inspection, which hasn't been done
Yes, there still
previously.
is.
So just getting ideas of what we have in town would be really helpful because there is a lot that we are responsible for. And to get that, and then maybe, so part of, I guess, let me back this up, part of what we were going through today is looking at what we have, how we've permitted people in the past, and then looking at how we think they should be permitted in the future. Because if somebody is serving soft serve ice cream, as we know, that requires testing. In other towns, they have a separate permit for that. Because having that testing, having it submitted, that takes some effort on the administrative assistant as well as the inspector or health agent. So having that small fee for that permit to check that monthly that it's coming in, all that management. Tanning facilities would be another one that, they do require to be inspected. There's a lot of UV, UVA, UVB, a lot of things in that code as well. Did I hear that we have a recreational camp For
No.
children?
No.
No, okay, I thought that was a yes, good. Because that would be another thing.
Palmer used to.
Okay.
Who?
Palmer,
Oh.
the Jewish camp.
So what I would like to try to get us to, and I think it's a work in progress, and I think you're all amenable to it, is review what we have. Jessica can, put together the list of who's missing what, who we still need things from. But then before we issue permits, I was kind of hoping that maybe the board could get together and just say, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. And maybe over the next year or 2 years or 3 years, we can develop a plan so that we're not just ambushing people with permit fees that they've never had to pay before, because that's not good business. But at least maybe get permits out there so that we can get in there for inspections and just make sure that
Yeah.
everything's on the up and up. If you're all amenable to that, I would be happy to present that information with Jessica.
I was there this
Before.
morning when you did the printout, and you had two separate forms, and I remember you saying, is there some way we could put them all into one?
Yes, yeah, so there's a plan review, which I had initiated a couple years back when I was here originally, which is to try to get a handle on businesses before they open. So unfortunately, we're here in a situation with Village Market where we had no idea what was going on in there. There's catering we didn't know about, there's all this stuff. Similarly, when initially, when I first started, there was soft serve ice cream there that we didn't know about. So trying to just get ahead of these things. If there is a food truck in town, unfortunately, there's been no plan review. We don't even know if that's up to code and it's going out to other towns.
It's been a few years. Well, there used to be a guy that would sell hot dogs out of a truck. But he died, and I'm not sure if somebody took over his truck.
Okay. So hot dogs
I
have
haven't seen
a
it for years.
different thing in the food code too. There's always that what if, but they still require some kind of oversight. And I think that if you're all amenable to it, I am more than happy to share my my expertise on this. I do a lot of food plan reviews in my full-time job, as well as my background in other towns. I think it would be really helpful to present if you're all happy to do it. But anyway, I think that there's a lot going on in town that we could get a better handle on.
Yeah, there's a lot that's just slipping by the wayside.
Yeah. And no shame on any, it's just a matter of how quickly life goes.
Then again, it's all the ones that are trying to sneak around the edge of the law,
There's some of that too sometimes, yeah.
And it's not that we want to stop people from having their own business, because we appreciate the business. It's the fact that, all right, you want to open a business, at least come to us and let us know. We're not going to deny you flat out, you can't run the business. What we want to know is what you're doing. Because if it comes under the Board of Health, okay, this is what we got. These are the laws that are on the Massachusetts books, and we have to enforce them, whether we want to or not. And it's better for you, as a businessman, to come to us to say, all right, this is what I got, what do I got to do? You know, it's not too difficult for us to go on a computer, look up the state law, and print it out for you.
So I envision a chart, just like you get at betting at the Super Bowl game. You get all the restaurants listed on the top with all the certifications needed for, and you can put the red ones or color them red for if you're going to be catering, blue for pizza only, things like that. And then that would be a quick glance. You could go and look, this is what they've got.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to need if you're going to do this, this, or this. You know, just like you do with any other cross-reference chart and go, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to serve pizza. Okay, so you're gonna need this certification, this certification, this certification, boom.
I like it. I've always taken the first step as education. So I think that if we're educating the public and we're educating the businesses in town on how to serve safe food and how to be sanitary and meet the minimum requirements of the food code, I think that the people of the town of Warren are going to appreciate that. They may not appreciate it right away, we don't know, but I think they'd appreciate it definitely down the road. And I'm happy to talk food safety with anybody who wants to listen, as you all know.
I would think that we would want to move forward on
Absolutely. Awesome.
Those little signs in the restroom that says employees must wash hands.
Yeah, that's
Even that,
such a simple thing.
is it just a private restroom for employees, or is it open
documentation
restroom?
of-
Public.
Restructuring
There's a
the permit
difference.
system.
Restructure, thanks. I'd like to make a motion that we're going to restructure the food permit system. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion made in second, that's what we're going to do. Any ideas, we will appreciate it. Like I say, I don't know why, for some reason, the football game comes to my mind when, having a chart that says this and this and this, and this is what's needed. Just even if you document it so that you go, you're gonna open up a pizza shop, oh, there's pizza, this is your requirements.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Maybe even with some nice pictures of a clean kitchen, things like this where, and don't, a don't. Don't have your kitchen look like this.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Are you, just for my clarification, are you asking for me to work with Jessica and put some stuff together for education and outreach, or are you looking more for an application that's, a if this, then that kind of
I think
application
we
that
have to
goes through
start
everything?
base, bottom
Okay,
level
Okay.
and go from there.
okay.
And that's gonna be starting off with education
Standard
processes first,
Okay.
so we can go from there.
Yeah, even if we had to start the education process and hand it to
Standard
every
application.
Yeah, standard.
store that you would actually be inspecting, all right, they got this, they're gonna know.
Mhm.
And maybe give them 6 months to, okay, we can do this. And that way, a year from now, when we come out with the new permits, they're all set.
Okay. I do, typically, and I know we've seen a lot of atypical inspections recently, but a typical inspection would have something that if there's a violation, typically when I do inspections, if there's something that I see that is not necessarily a violation, but there's a best practice, or there's a, even, we were mentioning it today, I took Jessica on an inspection with me, the seals on the doors of the refrigerator, if it's broken, could it be a violation? I could write that as a violation of the food code, but would I rather have that conversation with someone that, let's get these replaced. How about by the time we do your next permit, you have these replaced?
Yeah.
Is that something that's going to harm someone? No.
Let
But,
me ask you this.
yeah.
If it was on a microwave, would you change it or throw out that microwave if that gasket was bad? Yes, you would. That freezer is not doing its job if that gasket's bad. I'm leaking cold air out
So
of there.
I guess that's the distinction, right? So if it's something that's not, if it's a gasket that's not
Functioning.
functioning, then that's a clear violation that needs to be addressed.
There's no
If it's
brainer.
something that is just dirty and a quick wipe with a sanitizer rag or some hot water might fix, then I will educate on that, and it's not gonna be written up as a violation.
They have to be
So-
clean. They don't seal properly if
Right.
they're not cleaned.
But they were, I'm not, I guess my point is that I do document timelines for correction, and it's typically a reasonable thing. Several inspections that I've had in my career, I ask the operator, do you think it's reasonable to have this corrected within 14 days? Yeah, I can get that done in 7. All right, I'm gonna put down 14 days. Get it done in 14 days.
3 weeks later, it's still not done.
I'll be back in 14 days. But for the most part, if we're working with people, they're
Yeah.
they're happy and willing to correct it. So I appreciate, I think I'm,
Communications is going to be your biggest obstacle out there. And I'm getting a hint that some people think that you're against them. Thinking of earlier things happening today. So, how do you present yourself like here? I'm not here to shut you, but look, this is what I want to see. This is what I'm enforcing. This is what I'm gonna take back to the commissioners. Things like that.
Yep.
Boom. It's got to. We can't have this where we have an outbreak of something. Even the ice. People are making ice, and let's start with Legionnaire's disease out there, that water, sitting in some sort of container for long periods of times, and then boom, now we're chasing that. Where did it come from?
Well, ICE in itself has its own requirements and regulations to follow,
There you go.
especially with the machines and how you handle it and the scoops and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
This is the
that's
greatest one.
very possible.
Not
with-
taking the cup and,
That's why you have 5-pound and 10-pound bags delivered, because it has been done like that, and they can take it from there into the cooler instead of making ice,
Yeah, I'll give you that to take home.
Oh,
I
thank you so much.
got a whole house full of tonnage,
As I
it's
said,
yours, but,
I-
it's just your basic
Better than
carbon filter, and then there's the
Most
one.
doctors getting out of
$50 in the
investments.
refrigerator really gets, I don't know why they're so expensive. But anyhow,
because it's small. I just have to replace mine.
yeah, so there's bunches of things that happen here that where do you go with it, people just then either forget the book and there are people out there, well, that's book, forget the book, this is the way it goes.
Yeah.
Don't read the
Yeah.
book, don't preach the book in front of me, because that ain't the way it goes, this is real life. No, you're gonna start with that book. There's a reason why that book was written,
Yeah.
and was either accepted by, the University of California, it's from Sacramento or something like that, it's a learning material. And, for some reason, you just like driving, you read the book, you're supposed to stop like this, but stop at this, for every 10 mile an hour car in front of you, but people are.
I keep saying it, and I've said it before, people who have gone through the ServSafe program, you get your food manager certificate or your whatever it is, certification that you went for. It's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell me anything. All it says is you went through the training. Now, what did you learn from it? That's what I want to see. Okay, and that's what you need to look for when you go up to these places. You need to look, okay, the ServSafe certificate's on the wall, that's fine, good, we're all set. No, you need to go the extra step.
And not for nothing, hey, that, instead of reading the book, just like Dan's saying, the classroom is got little countertops, and, we're gonna dirty them up with, peanuts and hamburger meat and chicken over here, and then maybe an egg over there, and, sanitize it. You got 2 minutes. Just in case, they're changing the menu from breakfast to lunch or something like that, How do you do that? But it's just pictures, and it's just paragraph after paragraph to the point where you go, what did that say?
I've read.
Hands-on. So now you're gonna get down to hands-on.
Yeah. In my current job, I handle 6 states, and all 6 states have a different version of the food code. And I have all copies of the most recent food codes from, I have several in my home. So 768 pages or some odd, you can miss a few things. And,
Oh, yeah.
and believe me,
Yeah.
I've forgotten more than than I remember, probably, but there's a lot out there. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful.
Well, I've noticed in life, and having trained hundreds of people in my life to do jobs, the day they get out of high school is the day they stop learning.
Mhm. Yep.
They don't get the idea. All the rest of your life is a learning experience. And of course, with me, I've done research for 40 years. So I'm used to it. But there are people that I could teach them something today and they won't know it tomorrow. They don't learn.
And just, I hate to do this, but I lost track. What are you gonna do with catering permits? Where did that go?
Sorry.
But did, I mean, it seemed like, the train just went. So we're gonna put
Restricted.
catering permits into,
Yes, you're gonna put them into,
the chart?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to actually
enact that.
enact a catering permit. Okay. And how much do we wanna charge and things like that?
Standard fee, what is it, 25?
For a food application?
Yeah,
120.
120.
So maybe what we could do is submit something to you once I review the code and find out specifically what
Yeah,
we're missing,
yeah.
submit something to you all, and then I can make recommendations to fees, or you guys can just see what you feel is right. Typically, it's,
Could you make a recommendation for fees?
Okay.
I'd appreciate that.
typically I base it on 2 inspections a year, because we already have it factored in here to charge for re-inspections
Yeah.
after first and second offense, which I don't believe we've done so far.
Yet.
But I can absolutely do that for you.
And then isn't getting this food from one location to another going to be what we just talked about? Is it's got to be at a certain temperature so that it can travel from here to here if it's going to be
Yeah.
lasagna? All right, so, I mean, you want lasagna to get to the customer's location, at least edible, warm, and not cold, so you gotta put it in a microwave or anything like that, things like that.
Yeah, so
So
initially,
does the person that's going to be doing catering, what do they have? What do they have to transport this product?
so that would be part of the inspection process. So once we permit them, then technically, right now, I can inspect more or less under the food establishment permit that they already have, unless they don't have one. In which case, we have a different can of worms, but we don't need to discuss that one right now. So for the time being, anyone who holds a food establishment permit currently, who's also doing catering, I would hopefully be able to vet some of that information during an inspection. But then once we have that catering permit, what that is that's their legal document to bring to another town. But I can certainly present my recommendations for restructuring this with fees. I'll give it to Jessica, she can,
So then you mean like whether it's hot or whether it's a cold product, whether it's
Yep.
a pastry type deal,
Yeah.
or like I say, lasagna, where,
yeah.
okay, I got it.
I vet most of that stuff out during the inspections, and sometimes I can't ask all 3,076 questions during every inspection, but after subsequent inspections, sometimes more information comes out, but I certainly do my best to get as much information as possible, and, yeah, I can get you as much information as I possibly can after every inspection.
Just so we can break it down and make sure we got at least 9 of the 10 ducks in a row.
Yep,
And there'll always be something out there that go, yeah, but did you think about this?
yep.
Oh,
There's
yeah, I forgot about that one.
always a what if in the food code.
Always. It's like, just whenever you put in 20 T-bone steaks for the party and 21 people show up.
Oh.
Don't you hate when that happens? So Title V, moving forward, Title V review. This Title V review is a pain in my back end.
Did you talk to that guy? Or get in contact with him?
Yeah, Ken. I talked to Ken Lacey out there. There's no one that's going to move in until we make a decision from his end, from what he's gathering up for.
Yeah, but what we need is a confirmation that he's going to do it. Can't just vacate the premises and
Yeah.
listen to what, well, maybe, yeah, but you gotta get rid of her first, and then maybe I'll think about it and all that. We have to have a firm, solid solid commitment.
To my understanding, we do have that option for the shared grant too, once they have someone that has filled that position.
Once they have somebody that's filled that position, this position is incredible. Filled by people that don't want to be committed. They just want to go, yeah, I could make it there. They're just or they go, no, I'm not, I'm gonna be on vacation. They retired, let's throw in that word retired. So, you know, they can move freely whenever they want. Oh, I need to buy, you know, a couple extra something here and there, or do windows, so, yeah, I can take that job, whatever retirement brings you. So that it's not, and then you're gonna break it down to, the person that's going to do this got to have knowledge of the soil, got to have knowledge of blueprint reading, and knowledge of the septic system itself on how it works. And then you can actually take a test and become licensed. And I do believe that about all of our inspectors have had all three credentials.
Right.
So let's, you know, do we look for somebody that's licensed?
I believe we should.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
The only one
It's only gonna protect our butt in the long run.
The only one that I've seen advertised is in Belchertown. It's complete sewer service with Title V.
Who is that?
It's on the road going into Belchertown. I've never stopped there.
202-116-9.
Could I interject? I apologize. There is a difference between a Title V inspector, which would be somebody who does that inspection for the transfer of real estate, and someone who is licensed, a registered sanitarian, or like Ken Lacey is, who's able and licensed to do all those. So a little bit of a difference may or may not be that particular situation.
Do you remember whenever you were going through some of the paperwork for Fountain and Sons, and you came across this guy's card that actually had a license?
It's got his number right on it.
Yeah, it had his number right on it. Do you know what happened to that number by any chance?
It's in the office, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still down on that folder, isn't it? Yeah.
Maybe we should give him a call as well. I could talk to Mr. Fountain, see if
Let's give him a call.
Okay.
Check on
Moving forward, property updates, 27 North Street, inspection update.
27 North Street is a
North.
pain in my butt. They called for reinspection 3 times in a row. They've blown me off 3 times in a row. The last one wasn't even a phone call to tell me that they weren't coming. So, he's looking to get inspected. I guess he called, what, yesterday?
Yeah, Monday.
Looking for what, May 6th?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? And I haven't committed to it yet.
I can tell you, 27 North Street, they have
You know,
a very loud fire alarm system.
I'm kind of ticked off at the whole situation over there, being
blame you.
stood up 3 times in a row.
I'm waiting one bit.
Plus, I'm a little bit under the weather right now anyway, so.
27 North, they're.
My last inspection,
Fire
even
alarm.
though he blew me off, I went up there, looked at the house and everything, and it still doesn't meet the requirements that are looking to get fixed. So, and again, the stuff that he has done, and I never saw they had a person come in and put heat in the house, electric heat. I never saw permit applications. You just, okay. So that means the electrical inspector should be getting over there to inspect that also.
Yeah.
And I've also heard through the grapevine today, well, not through the grapevine, right from the management company's mouth, that they've been doing work over at 24 North Street without pulling permits.
Again.
So having the lawyer here tonight telling us they want to do everything right, but, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and they're against the fees that we've charged, the fines that we've charged of $300 a day, which initially it was $500 a day, and we did cut it down to $300. And I'm not happy with going any lower than that right now, because of all the runaround that we're getting from the owners. So, I mean, he's telling us he wants to work with us, he wants to do everything the right way and everything else, and then he's sending people over there to work and they're not even pulling permits
For 24 North Street.
for 24 North Street. And 27 is basically in the same situation. He's telling us he wants to get everything squared away, come over for a re-inspection 3 times in a row again. Twice he called, just before I was leaving the building to go.
Mhm.
The last time, he didn't even call.
So, we don't, on Title V inspections, if you have to go back, we charge them.
Yep,
So, this is the third time that they,
this is the 4th time coming up.
fourth time coming out. I think there's time here, it is like, hey, put up some money here or else, boom, forget about it.
Can't forget about it because there's already a court hearing in it, involved with it. So in order for him to get money, I have to clear this residence because I answered their issue with another inspection that still showed them in violation of everything. So, and I started attaching fines from that point forward because that was the 3rd inspection I did over there. So they have a climbing account right now. Now, are we ever gonna see that money? I don't know. The only way, she's already taken them to housing court, and that's where it's sitting right now, in housing court.
Who's she?
The person in the apartment that
Okay.
filed the complaints. So,
Have we kept track of the days that, these issues haven't been resolved?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So then we sent them a bill?
Yeah, we sent them a penalty notice.
Okay.
So right now, it's up to me whether I wanna go back over there tomorrow and deal with this crap.
Or
but
go
being-
back over there tomorrow and they're not there?
That's where I'm at right now.
So you're still under the weather? Are you working? You know, the only way you're gonna get better, Dan,
I'm
is you gotta sit
working.
down on a couch and relax.
I'm working, but I can only hear on one side of my head, and that's not that good right now.
So the last time that I talked to him, I was going to let him know if we could confirm tomorrow after 3. So it's not confirmed, I can give you his contact information.
Right now, I'm gonna say it's scheduled for Friday afternoon after 3, Friday at 4 o'clock.
I can give you his,
Did everybody sign the signature book? That's okay.
Huh?
can I have your
I
paper?
doubt it.
I think you did,
I'm
Joe.
not in my office tomorrow.
The signature thing?
Signature.
She's got it over there.
Is it all signed?
Mhm.
Oh, it's all signed? Ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
Dan signed his stipend there?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. And then Joe's signature's on every one of those?
Yep.
Awesome. And, thank you, Tricia, for all that hard work you're doing out there. And all
Thank you.
brutal friends you're making.
Got into food safety education. Enforcement was a,
The other one that we're gonna have to push forward to court is 200 O'Neill Road.
200
O'Neill Road.
O'Neill?
We had him served by the sheriff.
That's the one in Rhode Island?
Yep. No response. And his tally fee the last time was what, 75, as far as I can remember? 75,000
$75,000?
for $300 a day. Plus the house is in the process, it is right now, it's non-livable, it's not habitable.
It goes past eyesore.
So he is served, He did acknowledge it, he did sign it, maybe he did get a receipt back, but he hasn't reacted to it. So the next step, I believe, is we need to go and,
Legal?
yep,
Yeah, that's gonna happen. I can feel it.
and the other one that's going legal for other purposes, other reasons too, is 38 Elm Street.
I thought that was illegal.
It is illegal.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other one that's potentially gonna end up going there, once we find out what's going on, it's maybe 11 North Street, 11,
O'Neill Road.
O'Neill Road.
11 O'Neill Road.
Yeah, that's right on the end of the street, as O'Neill splits up and Westmoreland Road goes down.
Yeah.
It's right there in that little triangular section.
That's that Pollock. That's it.
That's
the older
Lezak.
gentleman?
Lysac, Stephen Lysac.
Yeah, and he can only speak like 3 words of English? if I'm not
He
mistaken.
speaks English pretty well,
Doesn't he?
yeah. But he's now committed to a nursing home, there to stay.
Oh.
He's not doing well. I don't know how much time they gave him, but it wasn't a whole lot of time.
He's got to be like 104 years old or something like that.
But he's got kids, but nobody's interested in anything. I guess there's $2, and there's no relationship with either one of them. They give a rat about him, and likewise, he's got no will, he's got nothing. The house, when we went into the house, Adam and I, it was like walking into a swarm of flies. It was just unbelievable. And the mold and everything that was all over the place, hoarding issues. It's just not a good picture.
Oh, you know, it's tough getting old. Okay. Did you want to do something with that? Did you move it into there whenever you and Adam went? Where does it stand at this point in time?
Right now, it's just sitting.
Just sitting.
Right, sitting, because we don't have, what I did was I wrote up the complaint, and I sent it to, was it Tri-Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have care over him. And that's where it sits right now, because there is no will, there's nothing.
Poor guy.
His resolution to it is just send me back home, let me die there, and just knock the thing down on top of me. So, neither one of the kids are.
That's something.
So,
So how long ago was that? 2 months?
about 2 months ago.
And we haven't heard anything back, nothing. These places, like our senior center has a free lawyer that can give you advice, to, I would imagine, just to the town, if anything.
Tri-Valley's got direct care for him. Which nursing home he went to, I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe something that, property is sold. and
It all
then-
goes in testate. It all
Pardon?
goes into, probate.
Yeah,
Probated doesn't become part of the people who are taking care of him, and they hold it as a collateral type thing? Nothing like that whatsoever?
Typically, a nursing home will latch on to anything that you have available,
yeah.
and a house is usually
If-
that, but
if
this
you-
place is so bad.
If you get put onto Medicaid, the state will take it. But, you know, sometimes you gotta wait an entire year in the nursing home before you get onto Medicaid.
And then that place can go poof.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. It's a bad corner to have a poof.
Did you see any rats while you were over there?
Yes.
Okay. Where do we wanna leave that? I guess we can't do anything with that. Warren.
Right now, that's hanging in limbo like 200 is.
So that's 11, or you're gonna call
That's
it
11 O'Neill.
I seen that guy pull into the post office. He didn't give a shit whether he was between parking places.
Yeah, he doesn't drive anymore. It's, the Tri-Valley person who takes him all over the place now, or was taking him all over the place. He wouldn't even let her in the house.
Really?
No.
When you open up the front door falls off in your hand. Okay? It's not. 200 O'Neill Road is a bulldozer, literally. That
Really?
and an excavator to haul all the crap out of it. And pretty much this one's gonna end up being the same thing. If kids aren't involved with it or anything like that, it's just gonna disintegrate.
He had a nice garden there. He took care of that garden. At least I thought so. Every time I passed there. Okay, new business, old business, new business. We got any new business out there?
Nope.
Old business? And we could go on with old business.
29 Bacon.
29 Bacon, 29 Bacon.
That's old
29
business.
Bacon.
That's in receivership.
Somebody lives there.
You still seeing lights on upstairs?
Oh, yeah.
So whenever you see it, do you call the police and go, hey, this is like condemned and shut down? What if they're a squatter? I mean,
I'm not gonna be responsible for arresting somebody.
okay. You can't be the only person though that's seeing.
Oh, no, I'm sure the entire street does.
You think the police have been notified of
Oh, I'm sure about it.
What's his name there? The chief knows about it. So he's supposed to be getting involved with that over there.
So we have a yellow ribbon around that place, like a red ribbon to the south?
That's not our responsibility.
Not our
That's the owner's responsibility.
Does it have a,
It has a no trespassing sign on it.
It does have a no trespass?
Yes.
Shouldn't it have that, zero with the line going through it or something, an X on it?
It's in receivership. We can't do anything.
The X on a whiteboard means that nobody's living there in case of fire. The fire department does not have to go into the building.
So then it's really, it's out of our hands at this point in time?
Right now, it's out of our hands, yeah.
Okay. Any other new, old business?
I am, well, no, that's new business, I should say, yes.
So how about, is it 200, 200 Old Warren Road? No, Coyle Road,
Coy Hill is 102.
102. What's happening with 102?
She is back in the hospital.
She's back in the hospital. It's just the same way, like no one wants anything to do with her, see you later.
She's got nobody, the neighbor next door is watching the house right now.
The neighbor next door watching the house, okay.
A lot of these properties.
She's making
that's all
sure
you
that
can
nobody
do.
gets into the garage to play with the Mustang.
Thank you for reminding me of that, Dan.
New business, we do have, what is it, 756 or 750? Yeah, with the chickens and the pigs and the Reed Street. 276, Reed Street. I went out there and I looked at the issue out there with the animals and everything. Walked the property line. There's no question that the other party has violated the Wetlands Protection District delineation line. And there's refuse.
What's the address, is this? Bemis?
No, Reed.
Reed. That's the one where it was wetlands back there, and the people were in here, and they stated their case, that, the crap and everything else, the chicken crap.
And indeed, the crap is flowing over onto their lands, and the chickens from the other yard are coming over there, and, you know how they belly out in the dirt to clean themselves, and chicken dig holes and stuff like that, they're doing that, leaving feces behind and everything else. They got kids that come over and play, so they're a little upset. Plus the goats, the pigs, everything. He pushed his fence right up against their fence, So all the odors and everything that come right there. The backyard is nothing but a pile of muck and you name it, and it's all flowing out through the wetlands. Sent the building inspector up there. He says, I can't do nothing about the buildings because I don't have any regulation over those buildings. The little sheds, animal sheds.
The animal sheds?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
So we sent, the ACO went out there. She hasn't seen anything, violations for the animals per se. But you know that she's dropping her position. So I went out there, I looked at it, I walked it with the property line with the owner, and he showed me everything, I took photos, the whole 9 yards. I then kicked the complaint to conservation. Because it's a conservation issue because of the wetlands. Wetlands are getting impacted. The people next door who filed the complaint put up a deck on the back of their house, they pulled the permit, the whole 9 yards, they were told by the Conservation Commission that they had to stay 50 feet off of the wetlands delineation line, which they did. But this guy has well exceeded it. So his buildings are into it, plus the animals are into it, and all the feces and everything are into it. And he just keeps on taking down more and more trees. So Joyce finally got back to me and called me up. Wanted to go out and do a walk with the ACO on Saturday. So I called Joyce and left a message and didn't get any response for Saturday, so I never made it out there Saturday. I got a message from her yesterday to try and hook up with her and do something with the ACO. So the next step is getting them two together and taking a trip out there and seeing what she wants to do with the conservation issue, because most of it is a conservation issue.
If the guy's still taking down trees, shouldn't he get a permit from the tree warden?
That's what I'm saying. Now, if he's taking down trees inside of the wetlands,
Oh,
that's a
no-no.
big no-no.
That's a no-no. 'Cause those trees could potentially eat up 300 gallons of water a day just to survive. And if you take that away, then that wetlands is just going to
Expand.
expand, yeah.
Yep. So, that's where that is. I got another call into Joyce to try and make things work for this weekend.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you
So-
very much. Whew. So when are you gonna relax to get over this cold you got or whatever you got?
I got an ear infection.
Ear infection, eh? When are you gonna relax to have that taken care of?
I thank my wife for that. So, that's what the new business is.
Thank you again. Bills and payroll. I make a motion to pay all bills and pay all payroll. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Everybody that's for it, say aye.
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 Motion made, second, and aye. New meeting to be determined.
Do we need to discuss the ACO stipend?
It appears to be animal control.
As far as I know, she's continuing until we have actually received an actual resignation.
Yeah, she called me and I had a talk with her, and she's gonna help us out as much as she can. Her main thing is at the end of the year, barn inspection, she's not gonna be able to do them because she's tied up. That's the busy season with the kids. And she's not gonna be able to do barn inspections.
Jessica, did you talk to Jim on getting that in the paper and out there? We're looking
We
for
can't do anything until we've received the
a
resignation,
resignation
and then
from
we will.
her.
Yeah.
And so she ain't gonna give it up until, so it's another one of the two sides of stories there. She ain't gonna put in a resignation until we hire somebody, but we can't hire somebody until she puts in a
No,
resignation?
she just hasn't gotten
that-
to it at
is that
this
how that
moment.
goes?
She hasn't gotten to it, and when she will, and she'll help us, once that's done, until we do find someone.
So even though she turns in her resignation, she's still gonna help us out.
Okay.
So as far as right now, the stipend is continuing until we receive the resignation, and then that's something we'll have to discuss once it's given.
As I recall, she got an extra $100 a month for the barn inspection.
Just in those
3 months.
Those 3 months.
3 months, yeah. October, November, December?
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. We, as you know, are paying for the sampling of the LSP, Lucy Stone Park. But we need someone to take those samples. Anybody want to volunteer to do that at 7 o'clock in the morning? Joe?
I don't get out before 10.
I guess you can?
I don't get out of bed before 10.
Or you don't get?
I'm retired, you know.
You know, the sun's up already. It's been up for 5 hours by the time you get up. Day's half over.
No, I'll pull the shade down.
All right. New meeting, next meeting to be determined. When's a good day for everybody?
According to this.
Before you do that,
15.
Stand by.
you gotta approve the minutes from,
Transmission.
you gotta approve the minutes.
Oh, I did see that somewhere. Jessica, I thought there was like 3 months of minutes that had to be signed.
The ones you've approved all of them, but
Oh.
you have just not
Just one?
written your signature on them, so you can, there's that one.
Board of Health, LPPM on Wednesday, March 20th?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Okay. How did I miss that? Oh, approved minutes, there it is. Approved minutes for 3/20/2024, that's this one. I make a motion to approve the minutes for Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second, I got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Alright,
Did you want these signed at the top, the bottom, anywhere?
Wherever you would like. You could put it on the second page at the bottom if you'd like.
How about the last page?
That would be great.
Could I just take one moment, please? I didn't realize it until now, but today is Administrative Professionals Day.
Mhm.
I want to say thank you for all of your hard work and everything that you
you.
do. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Jessica.
I'll take you out for dinner next week.
I'm holding you to that. This is recorded.
I got your free coffee card, but I didn't bring it with me. I'll bring it
Convenient.
next week.
I gave her 6 new chairs.
Thank you. I'll get the other ones that you need to sign.
Okay.
Have you sat in those yet?
Huh?
Have you sat in those yet?
I did. They roll real good. Yeah.
You might have 2 more coming soon.
Boy, we're gonna get filled up in there.
It gets rid of those real low ones, those little blue things that are like.
The metal chairs, I hate those.
Yeah, me too. Boy, at least if I can sit back in them, you know.
So, new meeting?
They don't have vibrations on them or anything like that.
No.
No speakers in the heads.
New ones that we have to. Those are next round change outs.
A couple years down the road.
If anything, I want to thank everybody for all their hard work and time that they put on out there. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Tricia. You do wonderful work.
Thank you, Jessica.
Huh?
I said I appreciate Tricia. She does wonderful work.
Does? Does anybody know what day they want for next?
Well, what is this is the 24th?
Yes, the third Wednesday is May 15th.
I'd say we stick with the 5th. Before I put open mouth and insert foot here.
I do that all the time, Dan. Don't be afraid of it. It happens. So don't you have like a particular date that you like or something like that, that, I don't know, something out there, I forget how it goes.
15th is middle of the month.
Works for
Yeah,
you?
15th is good.
15th is good, everybody? Yeah. Let's make it the 15th. I make a motion to adjourn the Board of Health meeting on the 4/24/2024. Do I hear a second? Second. Motion has been made in second. Do I hear everybody say aye?
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.